Hello besties, how are you today? How are you doing? Welcome back to my channel, Easy Sewing with TAIC. On the channel today, we'll be making this beautiful and gorgeous bubu dress. So if today is the first time of coming across this channel, of hearing my voice, it's so good to have you here. My name is Taiwo. You're welcome. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your love and support. I appreciate you also so much. If you're yet to subscribe, please ensure that you do so. Put on the post notification, like this video, share, and leave a comment for me, okay? Thank you. Now let's get started.
Now here is my fabric. I've gone ahead to fold it into four since I'll be cutting both the front and the back together. So I folded it into four that way. And the length that I have there is 23, meaning that when it is opened, it is 46. I use the total length of the Ankara. So I'm going to exhaust the total length of the Ankara. So I have 23 there on fold. It means when it is opened, it is 46. And what I have here now is the full length of the gown that I'm working with 2 inches folding allowance at the hem. So you want to go ahead and cut it out using your own preferred gown length. Also note that this upper part for mine is on fold because I have enough fabric, so I was able to fold it in such a way that that place is on fold. But if yours is not on fold, it's fine. Just make sure that you factor in the joining allowance at the shoulder. Now to take the neck measurement. So the neck that I'm using here is going to be the same for the front and for the back, which is 3.5 by 4 inches for both the front and the back. And that is the only cutting I'll be making on this Ankara fabric. That is the only cutting we'll be doing here. So I'll go ahead and mark out the dimension 3.5 by 4, and I'm going to cut it out. After cutting out the neckline, the next thing to do is to proceed to that front design, the design you can see at the front. So I have my plain fabric here. I'm working with black, and I've gone ahead to interface it. Now the wideness of this design, that is the wideness, you know it is on fold, is 8 inches. Now looking at that design, you can see that it is stopping around the shoulder area. So it depends on how wide you want yours to be, but it's not stopping directly on the shoulder. It's stopping around 1 inch before the shoulder area. And the shoulder measurements that we're working with today is 16. On fold, that is 8 inches. So it means that I will be working with 7 inches on fold. But in total, I still have 8 inches there because I'm going to need 1 inch or half inches to fold it in when I am about attaching this design onto the fabric. So I hope that is understood. Now I have 8 inches in total on fold, but what I actually need is 7 inches. So at the end of the day, it means I have subtracted 2 inches from the shoulder measurement. Now that we have gotten the width, the next thing to do is to decide the length. So the length that I'm working with is 27, but I'll go ahead and mark out 28 inches because I'm going to need 1 inches to fold it at the hem also when I'm fixing it to the fabric. So I'm going to mark out 28 inches that way. For the purpose of today's tutorial, this design will extend to the back, even though we cannot see the back design from the style inspiration, but I decided to allow this design to extend all the way to the back. So for the back, I have 8 inches that way. So I don't want the back design to be too long, so I have 8 inches, and I'm going to use 1 inch to fold it. So at the end of the day, I'll be left with 7 inches. So that marked line now is going to serve as the shoulder line. Okay, that marked line, that chalked line is going to serve as the shoulder line. So you want to go ahead and fold it this way. Now that it has been folded this way, it means I have the 28 inches in length for the front design, and I have the 8 inches length for the back design, and that chalked line is going to serve as the shoulder. You can say that it is on fold as well because the Ankara fabric is on fold. So you want to take note of that. It is on fold. Now the next thing I'm just going to do is to go ahead and measure out the neck dimension, the 3.5 by 4 inches that was cut out from the Ankara fabric. I'll go ahead and cut it out on the plain fabric as well. After cutting out of the neckline, you want to go ahead and notch both the plain fabric and the Ankara fabric at strategic places just to make the fixing seamless and easier. You can notch it at the shoulder like that way, then notch it at the center. This would guide you when it's time to fix this. Now the next thing to do is to complete this design. So you can see that it is smaller towards the end. So the wideness I want at that end, I want it to be 4 inches wide. So on fold, I'm going to measure out 2 inches that way. And remember that I'm using 1 inch to fold it. Now this is optional. You can add half inches to yours to fold it, but I'm using 1 inch. So I'll have a total of 3 inches at the tip that way. Then I'm just going to slant it all the way to the shoulder line, and I'm going to cut it out. Now note, before you cut it out, you want to go ahead and open it up this way so that you would not mistakenly cut out the back design. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut out the front now. And for the back design, you can go ahead and give it a curve that way to make it round. You can go ahead and make it into like a triangle, but I'm going to leave mine square shaped. I prefer it that way. I'm going to leave mine square shaped, so go ahead and use your preferred shape. Now go ahead and notch it at the center that way at the M for the front and for the back. All this is just to make fixing easier. So I've gone ahead to cut out long stripe of the Ankara for that design. I have 2 inches this way, so I'm just going to fold it half inches on both sides. Then I'm going to fold it into 2 again. This is how I arrived at my long stripe. You can go ahead and use any other method. Just ensure that you have long stripe of Ankara fabric of like half inches wide. Now it's time to move to the sewing machine. Now the first thing I will be doing at the sewing machine is to sew the ropes, just like I showed you that I would at the cutting table. The ropes that will be used for that front design. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold it and sew it all the way. After which I'll go ahead and start placing that Ankara design on this plain fabric. But before that, to make this easier, I've gone ahead to mark out all the lines where I'll be placing it. So from the neck that way, I have 2.5 there, knowing fully well that I'm still going to turn the neck with half inches. So I'll be left with 2 inches. Then I have 33 inches interval. Then before the M, I left 1 inch space. I just tried to recreate what was in the style inspiration. So you want to go ahead and chalk this out with your chalk. It makes it easier. Now I'm just going to go ahead and attach this. So I'm going to use this Ankara to cover the lines, the chalk lines that I've made already. To attach the Ankara bias, you want to make sure that you stitch it down at both the upper part and the lower part. That way you are sure that it's not going to shift or it's not going to move. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix the rest and show you what I have. This is what I have. When I'm done, I've gone ahead to fold in the 1 inch inwards also. Then I use an M gum to attach it down. To make all this is to make the fixing easier. The next thing to do now is to turn the neckline with the front design. So you want to place the front part of the design to face the wrong side of the Ankara. Then just go ahead and sew it all the way around using half inch at the neckline. Now the part where I notched earlier when we were cutting, I make sure that it matches up on both the design and on the Ankara fabric. Then I went ahead to pin it down, so I'm sure it's not going to shift or anything. Now I'm just going to go ahead and sew it using half an inch. After sewing, you want to make sure that you notch it properly all the way. This is to make it relax. Then go ahead and top stitch on the Ankara now, not on the front design, on the Ankara. Go ahead and top stitch it. Then turn it to the right side of the Ankara fabric. So this is it. I've gone ahead to turn it out. You can see how neat the neckline is. So because I've gone ahead to fold the side already and I've attached it down using an M gum like I showed you earlier, now it's just easy to fix this. I'm just going to go ahead and sew on it using a matching thread. I'm just going to sew on it. You can hold it down with your pin so as to be sure that it's not going to shift. Make sure that it is centralized as well. Then just go ahead and stitch it down with your matching thread all the way, like so. Now that we have successfully attached the front design or the neck design, the next thing to do now is just to fold it that way all the way at the sides. You want to go ahead and fold it, or if you want the selvage area of the fabric to be left like that, then it's totally optional. But I'm going to go ahead and hem mine this way. This is the side of the dress. So here's what I have so far. That is the front and here's the back. So for the final step, then what I'll be doing is I'll go ahead and fold this into four. just like we folded it when we were about to cut out the neckline. I'll go ahead and fold it in. After folding it this way, you just want to go ahead and start imputing your vertical measurement, which is the chest line, the waistline, and the hip line. Now, because this is a bubble, I won't be using a chest line that I would have used if it was a fitted dress. So from the shoulder that way, I'll be coming down by 13. That's going to be the chest line for this dress. I'll mark it out. Then I'll chalk out the half length or the waist, which in this case is 18. Then after which I'm just going to chalk out the hip line. So on the chest line, I'll go ahead and put in the bust measurement. So the bust measurement that I'm working with is 44. That's 11 because it's on fold. Then I'll go ahead and add 3 inches to it for ease. Now it's up to you. You can add more. You can add as much as 4 to 5 inches depending on how free you want it to be. But for this particular project, I'll be adding 3 inches. So the bust and the hip measurement that we're working with today is the same. So it's the same thing that I have on the bust line that I have on the hip line. Now for the waistline, I'm just going to subtract 1 inches from what I have on the bust line because I don't want the waist area to be fitted at all. So I'm just going to connect everything like so. Now at the lower part, at the hem, you want to come up by 12 inches. Remember that I'm yet to fold in the hem. So that was included in my measurement. You want to come up by 12 inches or more. And that is because this sewing would not be done all the way to the hem because this outfit does not have a slit to make it easy for the person wearing it to be able to move. So you don't want to sew it all the way to the hem. You can come up by 12 inches, 12 to 15 inches. That is where all your sewing is going to stop. So at that 15 inches or 12 inches mark, you want to go ahead and put in the measurement you have at your hip, or you can add like 1 inches or more so that you can have something like an A shape. Just go ahead and flare it out or put the exact same measurement you have on your hip. Note that all these markings should be done on the right side of the dress. Once you are done marking it out on this side, you want to go ahead and turn it to the other side and repeat the same marking. Then you just take it to the sewing machine and sew on all the marking, all the chalked line that you have marked. You just want to go ahead and sew on it, and voila, the boo dress is ready.
And that will be all for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you gain value. If all of this is yes, then kindly give it a thumbs up. Don't leave without liking. Share it, okay? Leave a comment for me. Let me know what you think. You can also connect with me on other social media platforms. Is at Easy Sewing with Tyke on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to do so. Thank you and see you in my next video. Bye.